three townlands make up the total to make up Napa. There's Napa Moor, Napa Mana and Napa Beg, which out on the road to Landmore and that. But the main part is Napa. That's around St. Thomas's Church. And there's two schools in Napa. There was a post office. I'm talking now about the 30s, 40s, when I grew up in Napa, a young child. And there's two schools, the post office. And there was, apart from the post office, there was other private houses that sold paraffin, which was great go at the time for Dylan, and the cigarettes, the 5 Woodbine in an open top little packet, wasn't in a box, an open top little packet, and it cost 2 pence.
2 pence.
2 pence for 5. Now, myself and my sister Kathleen, she's my only sister, I don't have any brother. We had wonderful times there in our childhood with the lovely people of Napa, who always invited us to anything they were having, harvest, Thanksgiving, go to the school afterwards and for lovely cakes and tea and what have you. And
where was the harvest Thanksgiving held?
In the church.
In St. Thomas's Church, yeah.
St. Thomas's Church.
The Church of Ireland.
Church of Ireland, yeah. And it was lovely. I can still hear the sound and see it in my mind's eye of the church bell rang for service at 12 o'clock on Sunday, and it sounded out through the valleys and over the Kilnacoff, Brackloon, out the road, and again at 6:45 in the evening. Now at that time there were 17 families in that part of Napa, generally, you know. Now we were about 1/4 mile over the road. We were in Napa Mana, but we were 1/4 mile over the road, and that place was sparsely populated. There was only our house and about 2 more, I think. And but still, and the church gate on Sunday evening was the meeting place for all in the village, and the summer's evening after work, everyone enjoyed. You couldn't go to bed without going there. See what was the crack, what was new, what was news, and playing pitch and toss, skittles. Now can you imagine the road, the Leanan road being so quiet, you could put up your 5 skittles, but throwing them at them and not a care to buy.
And was it tarred? Was the road tarred?
No.
Dirt road?
Not at that time.
Not at that time.
It was, it would be tarred shortly afterwards.
That's in the 40s, is it?
That's in the 40s.
40s, yeah.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be led to the church gate of the 40s anyway, you know. And I saw 21 people there one evening, playing pitch and toss, Sunday evening. 6 o'clock, everybody said it's time to go to tea, and everybody went their own way. They assembled again to take on the bikes, to cycle out to Carrickindi, where I said to you, Patree and played, or wherever, to Drummond. There was a hall in Drummond. And very few was going to town in those times. It was all the country hall, you know. But then, as we got older, we moved on to Ahoggower, to the community centre there. There was dances. From that then we qualified to go to town. And in town, of course, we had the Ideal Cinema and Ballroom. That now is where the car park on James Street is, and at the back there. You go in through the entrance. That entrance is still there, the very same one that brought you into Fitzgerald's garage. You had a garage in there, and the Ideal Cinema and Ballroom, which was, Michael Hoban was the proprietor on the Octagon, where I worked for a couple of years, travelling shop, but that's another story. And he had the Pavilion Ballroom, and eventually Tommy Tunney took it over. And the bands used to play there. Now the man that died yesterday, Big Tom, he didn't play there in my time, but Larry Cunningham played there. Jimmy Rohan Tralee, Mick Delahunty came one time, and before he came to see the place, and he said to Michael Hoban, he said, you know, Mr. Hoban, he said, you must have a grand piano. That's our part of it. So Michael didn't bother. Mick Delahunty turned up. This isn't a grand piano, Mr. Hoban. Ah, Michael said, that's the grandest piano in Mayo.
There was a piano there, there was. But it wasn't
It wasn't
it wasn't what he wanted, yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. And tell me, there used to be films there as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, there used to be films, yeah.
And was it easy switch from a cinema
It was, you know, really. You couldn't believe it. And Mrs. Hoban then, who was a neighbour of mine in Napa, she was sister of Tommy Johnny's. She did the cheese and the cake and everything. You get a cup of tea and a slice of a fruit cake, sixpence.
Sixpence, yeah.
Yeah, and the cup of tea was not much, but lovely. And the hospitality, you know, was something else.
Would there be many in there?
Oh yeah, yeah, they were from everywhere, up from Kilmeena, in from Westport, Drum and everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there much drinking going on that time? Would there be many drunk in the hall now?
Not really. You see, the pubs closed at that time. Generally the dance was Sunday night. Right. And the pubs closed at 10 o'clock. 10 past 10 you had to be out. Unless you were bona fide. If you lived more than 3 miles from the pub, you could stay in for another while. But 10 past 10, everybody out, you see, and there wasn't that much drinking. You just the occasional one, you know.
Did you ever see a scrap in it now?
Oh yeah, I often saw a scrap in the pavilion. I saw a scrap at the pavilion one night. There must have been 800 people in it. It was St. Stephen's night. And all the girls were standing up on the seats and a couple of fellas batting another down on the floor.
Did you know them?
I did, yeah.
Won't say anything, no?
Huh?
Don't say anything.
No, no. But yeah, that was, I remember another night, another St. Stephen's night, or St. Patrick's night, I'm not quite sure. And Mick Derrick out the road used to help Michael Hoban on the door, and his daughter, and I think Holly Latimer was there at the time. And the outside door, and he came in, and the place for your coats then next. And then there was a big wide double door. You went in sort of sideways to get in, but there's a big wide door and you could drive in. I used to reverse the van up the back, because the piano used to be used in both halls. And I was in Hoban's at the time, I reversed it up and onto the stage. But there'd be 800 dancing at least.
Yeah.
And the surge was coming from outside, you see. And Michael caught hands with McDerrick and whoever was there straight across. So the surge came from outside and pushed them straight up the hall. No pain, no nothing.
No.
We're only inside, turned on the light and the light switch. And 1,000, I'm sure, in the hall. Those great nights.
And did it come back again, the light, did it?
No, everyone left.
Everyone left?
It was too
in the
long.
dark?
Yeah, it was too long off. You know.
Well, obviously, it was dangerous then, wasn't it?
It was dangerous.
It was dangerous, okay, yeah.
But
did you go to the film in the...
yeah, you go to the film in Lent.
In Lent,
Yeah.
And where would you go to?
They had a film in the town hall. Malone, Miss Malone and Peg Malone had a film. There was a film shown in the town hall. We used to go to the town hall.
Can you remember any of the films you saw at the time, though?
Huh?
Can you remember any of the films you saw? It's a long time ago now, that's a long time. Yeah. How much was it to go in?
Another good 1 and 3 or something.
1 and 3. Cheap, it was cheap,
It was cheap, yeah.
And were there many in there?
Oh yeah, it was full house.
The full house, yeah.
Oh, full house.
And many nights
They'd be what you call cowboy films and that sort of thing.
How many nights a week would you do?
Oh, we done go on Sunday night.
Sunday night, yeah.
That time, you when I was out on Sunday night, you were lucky to go out on Sunday night, you know. And during the week you were working or whatever and you had to.
There was no gallivanting.
There was no gallivanting, no, it's different altogether. There was, what had you? A bike. You know, you couldn't go too far.
And you meet the girls there, you would, yeah?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would you walk them home?
Well, I didn't bother about much at that time.
Oh, what about the other fellas?
Oh, no. Well, I'll tell you, that would be a situation where you'd make a date with somebody, the last dance before Lent.
For Lent?
Right?
Yeah.
You'd have her for Lent.
If she stayed.
If she stayed. You could change partners at Easter then.
There were different times then with the girls and the fellas.
Oh, they were, yeah.
There was no one of this stuff that goes on nowadays, was there?
No. And you see, in the pavilion, the girls were on one side and the lads on the other. You cross over and ask your girl to dance, you know. Whatever, that was it. Would you dance, please? You don't pull, they just, one is dancing here now, the other is dancing up there.
And if she said no to you, what would you say?
I keep going. That's the next.
You didn't ask her that you bring the knitting.
Oh yeah, my
Did you
friend.
ever hear that one?
I
Yeah?
did, yeah. But
Were there any drugs that time?
no. Everything was, be honest with you, it was clean living and lovely. You could go into bed at night, leave the front door wide open and be there in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning, yeah.
But I heard the story about this lady. You know, a lot of girls that sit up on the stage in front of the band admiring the lads. The lads used to stand up playing in those times. But this girl sat down, she was knocking back gin and tonics, you know. So this fella thought he'd go up and ask her to dance. And he said, will you dance, please? Oh no, she says, I'm very particular who I dance with. Well, he said, I'm not, that's why I asked you.
That's a bit like the knitting one, isn't it? So you had good fun?
Good fun,
Good fun, yeah.
Good, yes, yeah, and we cycled to the Canvey, the dances, and now they're talking about, big thing about tea dances on Sunday afternoon. There were dances in the ballroom in the Emerald Ballroom in Canvey, Sunday afternoon from 3 to 6 when I started dancing.
So they were ahead of their times.
Stephen Garvey from Castlebar was playing the music. And he was one of the first to introduce the Hammond organ on the stage. Really? Lovely music.
And were there many in that band? Many musicians? It was an orchestra, was it?
About 4, I think.
4, was it?
5, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And what other bands were around that time?
Well, there was a band near ourselves in Streamstown, or Belclare, Peter Gavin and his Ashford Castle band. Pat Kearney and Ahagawa. I can picture those now in the dark suits and the bow ties. And Pat Kearney and Ahagawa.
Who was playing with Pat?
No, I
can't remember, yeah?
I'm
okay.
not familiar with that now.
Yeah.
But he played in a lot of places. Of course, the local ballrooms, you see, he'd play in Commonses in Kilmena. There's a ballroom there. Club A ballroom back in Claggin. The Round Tower in Turlough. The Horseshoe Hall, French Hill. There was the hall in Doon.
Doon, Westport.
Yeah, Doon, Westport, Heenans. And as I said, Gower, Carrick-Kennedy.
Island Eady, were the one in Island Eady?
And Island Eady.
So they were all over the place?
They were all over the place, like country ballrooms. Best that suited us in those times, you know.
And who was building them? Local lads that built the hall and...
And they just started up, it wasn't a big...
And did they last for long?
Oh yeah, that went on for a long time.
Long time.
Yeah. Now that Commonses now is the community centre in Kilmena.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, that's where it was, on the corner.
Did you play football?
No.
Was there much football around you? No?
There was. They used to play football in Napa. They'd come in and from Drummond and would have a bit of a match. No, I wasn't into football, no.
And when you went into Napa Church, were the priests in favour of it, or could anybody comment on it? Or?
Well, should I say, in my youth, if I went to a funeral, went in the church, it was a mortal sin.
That's right, yeah.
And I had to go to the bishop for absolution.
Did you ever do it?
No, I don't.
Did you ever go in?
Oh, I did go in, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean to say, your neighbour is being buried. And we're told in the Bible, our neighbour is all mankind of every description, even those who injure us are different from us in religion. Isn't that the answer to that?
And did anyone ever whisper in your ear or anything like that?
No.
Everybody went in, did they?
Not everybody.
Not everybody?
No. You stand down at the church gate and, you know, they'd be singing away and they wouldn't long till the short service for the funeral.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to be out again. And then now, it's so different. Everybody's playing and it's no bother go down playing different churches, you know.
And were you friendly with your Church of Ireland's neighbours?
Reverend Lewis.
Reverend, I remember him. He was here in my time, yeah.
The first man was Mr. McVeigh.
Yeah.
One of the neighbours used to bring him to town in a sidecar. He had no care. Mr. Blenner Hassett was there. He died in Cork recently, and his family. Mr. Brown. There was a lot of different clergymen when I was young. But Percy Lewis, And I'll tell you something about Percy. Percy was the only one who had the phone in the village. So if I wanted to ring the doctor or whoever, door was open. Come in, Jim, go ahead, no problem. A real gentleman, Percy Lewis.
Mm. They would have covered Westport, or they come from Westport, were they?
No.
The Church of Ireland rectory, would he be covering Westport and Napa, or was there a special one for each area that time?
Well, there was more in it than there's now. But they're for Ballyconneely and Clifton, and they'll cover all that, you know, on a Sunday. And but when the electricity came to Napa, before that Mr. Lewis had gas lighting and all that kind of thing, and he had all the fittings. And when the light came, we were to take 8 or 9 poles to bring it over to our house, and they didn't want to do that, so we didn't get it. So what did Mr. Lewis do? Took all his gas fittings apart and gave me every one. That is the surest you're sitting there.
That was
so
nice.
I put them up, and we had gas lights until we got the electricity.
And it take you long to get it?
Oh, it took a couple of years, yeah.
And do you remember when it came around first?
Oh, I remember well, but I don't have a date, 60 something.
Oh yeah, but yeah. Was there much talk about it when it was coming, was there?
Oh, there was, yeah, and there was a lot of, it gave a lot of employment, you know, digging the holes for the poles. It's different to now, the JCB, you know.
Some people were kind of slow to take it, were they?
They were afraid of it. It was a great asset, you know, when it did come.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is, if you have a thunderstorm now, or the light goes for whatever reason, you're finished. You can't boil the kettle. You see, in my youth, we had our own turf, we had our own butter, our own eggs, our own milk, everything. The only thing you had to buy was the tea and sugar.